Around noon, Mom and I went to our local shopping mall in order to pick up my new pair of glasses. Which, compared to the old pair, feels kind of stiff in terms of the legs of the glasses. There was barely any change in the prescription. Just a little bit in the right eye. So I'm pretty much keeping steady. And we also picked up some new contacts, although they're not for me. And then around 12:30, I had a large cup of pretzel bites with some cheese sauce, though at the time I ordered it, I referred to it as queso. The pretzel maker store, it was closed, or at the very least not ready, so we ended up going to Auntie Annie's. Not sure if I have the name exact. But it was another pretzel place that I remembered from previous visits to that mall. On the way from Auntie Annie's, and to the food court, so I could get a Mexican chicken sandwich from the Burger King at the food court area. A family member who we've rarely seen over the years. On Dad's side, happened to recognize me and called us over. I think we had a roughly 5 to 10 minute conversation about essentially telling each other what we do now, if I recall correctly. It was a good surprise. And it was also nice having those pretzel bites and the BK Mexican chicken sandwich at one of the tables they have out at the food court area and chat with my mom a little. Although she didn't really get anything except maybe a milk. At the Burger King, we got 2 of those fat-free milks. That are 90 calories and intended to be for part of a kid's Happy Meal, or at least intended for kids. I got the milk instead of the high C this time in order to get a healthier drink. And the reason we ate at the food court instead of bringing it home it was because after the meal, which was kind of a late breakfast for me, I don't really recall when I woke up, but either way, during the morning hours, I had a cup of plain coffee that Mom made, and had another when we got back from Target. We were at Target roughly from 1 to 2 p.m. at the earliest, 2:45 p.m. at the latest. I believe we got back around 2:30 p.m. And at Target, we got a couple of new bins for my polystyrene drawings, since if they're let out in the open, then dust can get on them. And they're more apt to be exposed to sunlight. Which is why I typically only have one curtain open. In my room. Mom got some Listerine. And I picked out some new toothpaste. That's supposed to whiten your teeth. It consists of two tubes, one for a deep clean and the other for the whitening itself. Though honestly, with the way they're branded, they kind of look more like a small shampoo / conditioner bottles are what came to mind first. This is what it looks like. Though I haven't tried it out yet. I happened to see it at the toothpaste section of our local Target. My mom also got some command hooks. And that describes most, but not entirely all of what we got at Target. After a minute or so to think about it, I thought it might be useful since I tend to drink coffee regularly. For the taste. And from 4 to 5 p.m., I walked to Wegmans, roughly from 4 to 5 p.m. I suddenly felt like getting some exercise. Got back $1 and 3 dimes in container deposits, though that's because while walking to Wegmans, I found both a plastic water bottle and before that, a White Claw aluminum can within the hard snow. That's at least my term for what is essentially snow with ice mixed in. In areas where the snow is thin, such as essentially the paved areas that are mostly at the very front walking, the very front of the parking lot. And by front, I mean the part that is closest to you. The part you reach first when you start walking into the local Wegmans. I believe those paved areas are meant to designate areas where pedestrians can cross the little road they have at the end of the parking lot for the cars. Some parts of those paved areas where the sidewalks are, the little sidewalks, they had little snow. So I was just walking on ice pretty much. And even with winter boots, I lost footing a little bit at a couple points when I was walking into Wegmans. But thankfully I didn't completely slip. One of my feet just slid a little. I was extra careful leaving Wegmans, so that didn't happen. I wore gloves since, even though it didn't start snowing until I was just about home, and when it did, it was very lightly, at first at least. I was barely snowed on at all towards the very end of getting back home from Wegmans. It was a cold, overcast day in the low 30s, Fahrenheit-wise. While walking to and back from Wegmans, at times I couldn't help but notice how interesting the neighborhood looked at times. With me seeing things such as a stick infused with the ice and snow and being partially covered by it, and the leafless trees, finding those kind of things interesting. At points during the walk to and back from Wegmans, very early on, I saw a bird standing right on the snow. I found that pretty interesting. I wore gloves and at points used my nose to operate the touch screen. I wore what I would probably describe as a t-shirt, but is probably more a polo, and over that polo I wore one of my usual winter coats. And I believe it's referred to as the Carhartt jacket. It's tan all around, and I wore it unzipped with the hoodie up. I wore a thin pair of sweatpants, would be my way of describing them. Though to some extent they're like athletic pants. That's generally what I wore throughout the day. Though I didn't keep the jacket on, left it I think I did generally keep the jacket on throughout the day. Yeah, but I didn't keep it on while eating the pretzel bites and that Mexican chicken sandwich. Instead, resting it on the chair I was sitting in at the time. I only kept the hoodie up while walking to and back from Wegmans as a way to protect my ears from the cold. Everywhere else, it wasn't really needed. Around 7:15 p.m., Mom finished cooking some cooking some steak and crab cakes. And with my crab cake and cut steak, I had some of the leftover broccolini and a glass of milk. I can upgrade the workshops, but I've got the resources for it. But I don't know if I would be able to find the space for them. I've currently completed this many task sets. I remember, I last set my workshops to produce simple tools. Still haven't really engaged with the mini game for the most part, which seems to always start with some kind of tutorial. They kind of changed the tool packs a little bit, so it's harder to tell what the best deal is. But I'll figure it out at some point. Also, at some point today, between getting back from Target and me walking to Wegmans, I spent a little time reorganizing my polystyrene drawings in order to move a couple small finished projects from being out in the open to being in a bin, as well as a couple food container polystyrene drawings finished. Though I haven't really done anything with the new bins yet.